On a scale from 1 to 10, how frustrating is plantar fasciitis? Okay, we all know the answer. It's a 10, probably a 10.9. I get it. I dealt with it for years upon years. I thought I was just gonna live with it forever, like a bad mole on your ass. You know what I mean? I thought we and plantar fasciitis were just going to the grave, but I fixed mine. I mean, this is shocking. I mean, years upon years, and I did all this stuff on those years. I was doing the calf massage. I was doing the strengthening. I was doing like those silly towel grabs, thousands and thousands of those, and then I was like, this is just not working. I went into the trenches to figure it out, and I have a list of 7 things I did that totally fixed mine. I'm gonna give it to you straight, because not everybody will. Plantar fasciitis is very, very individual. So I'll give you this list. You could do it. Maybe it's not for you, but there is something in here. I'm telling you. Now, here it is. I didn't even warn you. Are you okay? Because this is amazing, right? Now, before I even say this list out loud, I have to give a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything. Don't listen to me. Seek professional help. Not me. Okay, anyway. So I said all that, so that's my disclaimer. Anyway, number 1, hip stretches. 2 hip stretches particularly is the hip flexor and the pigeon pose. We'll talk more. 2, barefoot strength training. No more shoe strength training. Covers the strong feet, all the balancing stuff. Interior hip tilt, very complicated. I got some close-ups of the interior hip tilt that are very exciting. Insole shoe combo. I have my own insole shoe combo that is working wonders, but it might just take a mix and match for you. And you'll find a pair that you can do a long run in and be able to walk in the next morning. The worst is when you get up the next morning and literally cannot almost make it to the bathroom because your heel feels like it's going to detach from your body. Anyway, trigger point roller. I got a secret with this one. And then the Kineon move, which is like a laser red light therapy. We'll get into that. And then the hip abductors. So those are the moving the out way, because we're always this way and then we need to go out way. Anyway, so we're gonna dive into each one. And then you're gonna be healing up that plantar fasciitis and kissing the heel pain goodbye. The good news is, I thought at one point if I was gonna get rid of plantar fasciitis, I was going to have to sever off my own foot. Both feet still attached, no more heel pain. It was always right here. Oh, okay, so hip stretches, number 1. This is the hip flexor stretch. You're gonna stand, legs open, and you really wanna get into that front of the hip, okay? So you're going to straighten the back leg, and you're gonna kind of tilt your hip down so you feel that front of the stretch. I mean, it really, like if you have hips like mine, like I don't have Shakira hips, they ain't moving. So when you tilt that hip down and you stretch in there, ooh, you're gonna feel the stretch. And I just hold it. 1 minute, 2 minutes, that's it. That's what I do. Nothing crazy, but the key is just holding in that stretch. And then from there, after you do the hip flexor, we want to get into like some pigeon pose. Now pigeon pose, you can either throw your leg up. Here I do it onto a couch, right? And this one hurts me so bad. Oh my gosh. And I have like a bad side and a good side. It's disastrous. Okay, I'm no yogi here. So don't judge too hard, okay? But also, if you don't want to throw it on the couch, you can even just sit in a pigeon pose, like this. So you put your leg up, you press this knee down. Ooh, see, there's some tightness in here. Like, I'm real tight. So, not even I'm stretching, but I'm telling you, even like 1%, even just this little stretch, maybe you have 1% more movement and flexibility in those hips, it's making the difference down here. We're all like a kinetic chain. Everything's together. So sit like this in a pigeon pose, kind of gently put the knee down is what I did. And then if I really want to get in it, I just lean forward. And then I'm crying inside, but things are happening. But you can do this. Watching Netflix, hanging out at your mama's house at dinner. It's key. So that's it. Those are the hip flexor and the pigeon pose. Those 2 stretches, I'm telling you, number 1, miraculous for this. Okay. Barefoot strength training. So the deal with this is, okay, so if you belong to a gym, you may or may not get thrown out violently. But I have a home gym, so no more shoes ever. Just socks and feet. Because look at those feet when you strength train without shoes. Going on like even throwing in a lot of like balance sticks, balance ball. Your whole ankle, foot, big toe, it's working. It's building strength, and that just keeps everything rocking. Okay, so if you can do some barefoot, if you can't get away with barefoot in the gym, there are almost like what I would call barefoot shoes, like for weight training. Just throw on a pair of those. But if you can do it with just socks on, go for it. Go for it. And if you get thrown out violently, I mean, whatever. Anyway, interior hip tilt. Now this one's a doozy. It looks easy, okay? You're thinking, oh my gosh. So what we're doing, instead of like the clamshells, we're trying to get like this inner hip. So you're kind of tilting this way. Inside, leading with that heel, okay? Your knees against the wall, and you're tilting outward, and you're holding. Okay, so you want to tilt outward, hold for 10 seconds, maybe hold for 3 seconds. But this is a muscle that I have never, ever used in my life. And when I started doing this, I was like, wowzers, that burns. But just a little, creating strength this way in the hips. Now we're getting somewhere. Heel pain was coming from hip situation. So if you're a biker and runner, that's why we gotta really check in those hips, okay? That's why we're doing the interior hip tilt there, and we're gonna do the hip abductors, and we're gonna do stretching of the hips. The insole shoe combo. Mind you, I am not sponsored by any of these, okay? So I could give a hoot what insole you find or what shoe you find. But for some process of elimination, trial and error, these Mizunos are the Wave Rebellion Flash 2. As you can see, the heel kind of kicks up here. I don't know if that's helping like with the heel pain or the plantar fasciitis, but for me, these shoes plus the Superfeet insole is working wonders. And I will tell you, did I put it to the test? Oh yeah. So I'm building up for this 100-mile race. I like to do really big back-to-back days. So I ran 31 miles, okay? Now that's a test in and of itself. 31 miles in the Mizunos with the Superfeet. Doing all my other protocol, but whatever. Next morning, wake up, no heel pain, okay? I go run 16 miles with a fast finish. Wake up the next day, no heel pain. So I'm thinking, and that was all done with the Wave Rebellion Flash with the Superfeet insoles. Now, there could be any shoe combination, but don't be afraid to do some trial and error. Maybe it's a Superfeet. Maybe it's a Dr. Scholl's. Put it in a different shoe. Maybe it's a Hoka. Maybe it's a New Balance. Some combo. The trigger point roller. This is the only roller I use. I do still love a roller for feet, especially runners' feet. They get sore and tired and achy. They need some love. But what I love with the trigger point, you have to do it with socks. You got to do it on carpet or like a rug. Okay? And I do it while I'm drying my hair, while I'm getting ready for the day. I can do it under the table at dinner. But the trigger point just gets in beautifully into that feet. You can run it back and forth, increasing blood flow, increasing flexibility, increasing movement in the bottom of the foot. I don't know what it is about this one, but it is my favorite. It just feels so much better. My feet just feel so much better with the roller. So I really, really love the trigger point. Always have. Now here's the deal. The Kineon Move Plus. Now, I'm going to warn you. Oh gosh. This was an investment, and I was a little bit nervous. But here's the deal. When I was training for the Boston Marathon. Doing big miles, shooting for a 2:30 marathon in the 2:30s. And so I'm really putting my feet through the trials. And I was hurting, like with this plantar fasciitis. I was just hurting. So there was a doctor by us, and she did laser therapy for the foot. But, insurance doesn't cover it. Like $150 a pop. But they'd sit this laser, red light therapy laser, on the bottom of your foot. You're just sitting there 30 minutes. But I would feel relief following that for like 3 to 4 days. But then the plantar fasciitis would slowly come back. So when the Kineon Move came out, I told my husband, I'm like, there is something here. I think, while not like the cheapest thing, I was like, I think we should get it. Because he was having some tennis elbow. I was like, it's not going to hurt us. I mean, financially maybe. But it's not going to hurt us, right? Hopefully not. Maybe we're going to be growing like 10 legs. But I was like, let's just try it out. Let's get it. Let's do it. I take one of these one of these little lasers. So it's like a red light laser therapy, right? It's increasing blood flow. It says increased mitochondria, whatever. It has some fancy stuff. You can read all about it. I just turn it on, okay? So look, got the red light. And again, I'm not sponsored by them. I just really think it works. I stick. So right, you know, when you have plantar fasciitis, there's exact points on the bottom of your foot. Right here, on the bottom of my heel, I take this laser. I'm reading my book at night. I stick it under my sock. Okay, they do have something you could stick on, but this works the best. And I put it right where that pain is when I had it. And I just let it sit under here. And it has 15 minutes, but I do 2 rounds of 15 minutes. You can do it wherever it is on your foot, and I just let it sit there. I read my book, and I let it do its work every single night. And it's that easy. And now, you know, I'm not going to a doctor, paying $150 a pop. I've really found relief from this. So, think about it. I think it's fantastic. My husband used it for his tennis elbow. It's a cool product. I don't do any heating or icing or heating for my plantar fasciitis because I never found it worked. But this, I actually like it. Okay, last thing is the hip abductors. So while we're doing the interior hip tilt, the hip stretches, I still am doing like the clamshells. I'm doing the side to side. We're working the hips. So we're breaking out of this like motion like this. We're going side to side. So, you know, so I'm doing these things. Woo! You know, and we're doing, I can't really show you here, but you know what I'm saying. You know, the clamshells with the, you're kind of opening like this. This looks really weird. But you're strengthening all this outside of the hip. And there you go. Those are the 7 things. I mean, there's all these other things I'm still doing. Like I have a great strength training program. I'm working the glutes. I'm doing the deadlifts. I'm doing all these things. But this 7 list, I hope you found one of them that works. And if you got more to add, put it down below because we really need to help people with plantar fasciitis break out. Alrighty, here you go.